Kendra Cocksedge, thank you so much for joining us on the Women's Rugby Pod on this Thursday afternoon. How are you? How's England treating you and the rest of the squad?
Yeah, it's not too bad here. It's been a little bit chilly. It was all right in Exeter, but we've moved on to Northampton, so it's a little bit colder here for some reason. I don't know if that's because it's November now and it's getting into winter here. But now we're enjoying it. The girls we're obviously in bubble life, so we're just trying to manage it at the moment of having some time together as well as getting out and about where we can under our restrictions that we've got.
Plenty of singing, plenty of dancing going on, is there, within the camp?
Yeah, there's always a lot of singing and dancing going on in this team. That's where I've lost my voice. I was trying to lead the dance yesterday, and this is what happens when you don't do that kind of stuff before. So usually TK leads it. And the girls kind of forgot about it, so I started leading it, and now I've lost my voice.
Brilliant. Thought I might be barking at your forwards, but look, we'll get into the game stuff in just a sec. Has there been a need for more singing this week, or possibly tone down the singing and get things on the park a little bit more sort of focused?
The singing never stops in this team. Straight after, obviously, we're pretty disappointed about the loss on the weekend, and it was a challenging game. And credit to England. They played well out there, and so we're pretty gutted in our 100th test to lose like that. But we had to keep the spirits high and get around each other. So as soon as we got back after the game, we got together and connected, and we've had a really good week this week. With trainings have been really, really awesome. The girls are really lifting it up another level, and so we'll see how things look on Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you just talk us about how they came? You mentioned a 100th test there for New Zealand as a country. Obviously, Stanley Park, it's a decent place to play rugby. Bit of wind down there, but a good old crowd as well. What was the occasion like? Yeah, the sun was shining. Two best teams outside of France going head to head. How was the occasion for everyone and yourself?
Yeah, it was a pretty special occasion. 100 tests for the Black Ferns, it was always going to be exciting build up. And, for myself, that was my 53rd test. So to play over half of those was pretty cool. But I guess the main thing was us getting some more test footy in. Stanley Park was awesome. The crowd was pretty unreal. I think there was just about 10,000 people there. So for us, that's massive. There's some girls on this side that have never played in front of such a big crowd before. So it was a bit different for them to experience that as well. But no, the crowd was absolutely fantastic. I remember at one stage when England scored one of their tries, how it just roared. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, it's actually quite loud in here. And it was great pitch as well. And as you said, it was a bit windy as well.
Yeah, it is. The wind whips off the motorway there, isn't it? Down the M5 there. Let's get into the game itself. We'll look forward, obviously, just a sec. But your assessment of the game. Look, I think those in the know would realise that it's 2 years plus since you've played together. That has to have a massive bearing. England fully professional. You guys aren't. But just give us your assessment of the game, sort of tactically and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think, as I said, we're obviously disappointed in our performance as a side, and for it to be our 100th test and to play like that, we were pretty gutted. I remember coming off the game pretty upset about it, but as again, we get another crack at it this weekend. But I think for us, it was, England really came out, the physicality of it. We haven't probably played that physical game for a while. We have our Farah Cup at home and obviously club footy and all that, but nothing matches the physicality of test footy and the speed of it, the pace of it as well. And, England have got some speed out there, and, credit to them, they used that well. They obviously used their wind well. Their kicking game, I thought, was really, really well planned, and they did a good job of that as well. But for us, our girls, we just didn't match it. But it was a welcome back to test footy. That's what we all talked about. Like, it was, you kind of forget how tough it is out there on the lungs. But as I've just said, we've cracked into it this week. We've trained very well, and we're looking forward to getting back out there on Sunday.
What's been top of the list in terms of right? We've got to get this right. I mean, probably line out isn't going to be too far away from the lips of your answer.
Yeah, so we've got to probably really focus on our set piece. Obviously everyone would be able to see that there's no secret there. It was pretty challenging in there for us, and we're not getting a good platform. It makes it really difficult for the rest of the game to flow. So it's been a big focus on that this week, big focus on mindset, and then just, focusing back into test footy. So we started to put some things together this week, and that mindset's already changed and everyone's up for it.
Where do you think you can damage England, having already played them once? Quite rare to go back to back and get that opportunity. Where do you think you can hurt England? Obviously, not giving away too many.
Yeah, I'm not going to give not going to give away too many secrets. But for us, it's probably more just focusing on our game. To be honest, Johnny, I know that kind of sounds cliche, but we need to work on what our strengths are, and that's always actually been a line out for us, as actually being one of our strengths. So
yeah,
we've really worked on that this week, and I know the girls will be firing in that area. But for us as well, we probably need to work better on our kicking game, being a bit more tactical in that, and just kind of turning them around. They did well at slowing our ball down. We didn't do so well at slowing their ball down. They played a fast-paced game, which blitzed our backs defensively. So, we've had a decent look at all that stuff, and I guess the main thing for us after playing that, test footy again, it was, we kind of weren't sure how things were going to go. With obviously England have played a few more tests this year, but they've had a few changes too. So, you can video analyze a lot out of teams, but at the end of the day, once you actually play a game, you can kind of see a little bit more, which has been really good.
Yeah, absolutely. What's minimum standard then for Sunday? Is it purely about performance? Is it purely about getting a victory, or a little mixture of both?
I think it's a mixture of both. We've got a World Cup next year, which is massive for us, and that's a huge focus at home too. So for us, it's about playing quality rugby, putting in a better performance than what we did last Sunday. And then obviously we've had a lot of new girls as well that have experienced test footy that will get another crack at it this weekend. So being able to give them some experience at this top level has been really good too.
Looking at the tour, it's sort of wider perspective. You speak about the youngsters there. You mentioned a couple of times. Is the tour? Obviously, you want to win every game. It's a Black Ferns shirt.
Yeah.
You're very good at doing it.
Yeah.
But how much of the tour is about that development, and Glenmore and the rest of the coaching team bringing on young players, as you say, ahead of that World Cup?
Yeah, I think it's hugely important. And it's also important for us older ones to get some test footy in again. So we always knew it was going to be a bit like that. But we got some young girls coming through, and it's so awesome. They're a great bunch of girls. They're willing to learn, and it's just, I was pretty gutted as an older person in the team that we kind of lost the way we did in the weekend. That's something that around the black jersey we held huge pride in, and so it's pretty tough for me for some of these girls on debut to experience a loss like that. But as I said, the spirits are high now. We flushed that straight the next day. We did a pretty brutal and honest review, which was super important. And some girls, again, those young ones may not have experienced that before, but it's been really good. And the main thing is, as long as you get learnings out of it. But I think too, the more test footy that these young girls can play is only going to make them better. Come World Cup next year, especially over the next 12 months.
How much, Kendra, is in the psychology of playing England? The two teams have met each other in pretty much every World Cup final. I asked Rocky Clark, who's been on the pod today as well, about the psychology of always beating someone, and then the question marks potentially come into the next game when you're possibly under pressure. The retort back from some of the England girls, well, we played New Zealand ahead of 2017, beat them down there, and then go ahead and lose the final. So how much of the psychological battle do you need to win this weekend in a World Cup year?
Well, there's a lot, obviously, rugby, there's a big mindset behind that and how you approach games. But, I think for us, it's probably something that we didn't quite do so well last week. And I know that the mindset's kind of changed again into this week, but, it's test footy, right? You don't know what's going to happen. As you said, the black jersey, we want to go out and we want to win, and I want to win. I'm a very competitive person, and so our focus is on this tour at the moment, knowing that these girls getting developed for next year. But at the same time, we're competitive. You want to win, and at the end of the day, it could be different to what it looks like next year. As you said, you know, England upset us in 2017, but we come back and we won that World Cup. So you just never know. 12 months as well from now, we World Cup, and so much can change there. There's a lot of rugby to be played in the next 12 months too. So that's going to be a really exciting World Cup on home turf.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to, before we let you go and have a proper rest day, that voice obviously needs a rest as well ahead of the weekend. We don't want to
bark at the forwards again.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. You've certainly been needing to do that, so we don't want to be responsible for you not being able to do that. But just obviously yesterday, some amazing news out of Wales. Not before time, all those kind of comments flying around and what have you. It's beginning to properly flow, isn't it? Those sort of essential contracts for women's rugby.
Yeah, I mean, we played Wales the other week in a bit of a warm-up match, and they had travelled, you know, they bust down to play us, and they all had to go back to work on that Monday. So, you know, it's pretty amazing. I think it's really cool to see that these contracts are coming out, and, you know, moving forward, rugby's moving forward, you know, and people have to allow players to become full-time players now. Those, you know, you're going to get left behind. So I think it's really cool that they've done that, and it's a really exciting time for them and for women's rugby.
And it pushes pressure potentially on other unions, and I suspect, fingers crossed. And I know you're giving me a media straight bad answer, but obviously you're hoping that New Zealand probably won't be too far away.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure New Zealand will be pretty close too. Obviously, having a World Cup at home next year as well. So hopefully, you know, going forward, we're in that same position, and you know, we've been lucky enough to be paid over the last couple of years. Where you know, and now it's just going to continue to move forward. And yeah, fingers crossed over the next couple of years that it happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Great stuff. Kendra, thank you so much for your time. Go rest your voice, rest the body, and we'll massively look forward to Sunday's clash. And as I said to Stacey last week, all the very best, but not all the very best, if you know what I mean.
Thanks, Johnny. No problem.
Great stuff. Thanks so much,
All right.
Kendra.
See you
You
later.
take care.
All right.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye-bye.